In the bustling heart of Lagos, where the humid air clings to your skin like an unspoken promise, lived a woman named Ify. At 29, she stood tall with light skin that glowed under the city's relentless sun, her beauty turning heads wherever she went. But beneath the exterior lay a storm of contradictions, pulling her in directions she never imagined. Ify grew up in Festac, a suburb where life moved to the rhythm of church bells and family prayers. Her parents, devout Christians, had raised her with stories from the Bible, Sunday services that stretched into the afternoon, and a strict code of conduct that shaped her early years. Her father, a retired civil servant, spent his days tending to a small garden behind their modest bungalow, while her mother ran a tailoring shop from the front porch. They were the anchors in her world, always reminding her of faith, humility, and the dangers of the outside temptations. "The world is full of snares," Ify, her mother would say, needle in hand, stitching patterns into fabric as if weaving protection into her daughter's life. "Stay close to God, and He'll guide you." But as Ify grew older, the pull of the city intensified. She commuted daily to the island, that glittering enclave of high-rises, luxury cars, and endless opportunities. Her job as an event coordinator took her from Victoria Island's upscale venues to Ojo's vibrant markets, planning parties for the elite, corporate lunches, weddings, and those lavish nights that blurred into dawn. It started innocently enough, a promotion that required late hours, networking events where champagne flowed freely. Soon, the nightlife became her second skin. Clubs like the ones in Lekki, with their pulsing lights and throbbing bass, offered an escape from the quiet piety of home. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the Lagos skyline in hues of orange and purple, Ify found herself at a high-end lounge on Victoria Island. She was there for work, or so she told herself, coordinating a product launch for a tech startup. Her phone buzzed incessantly, texts from her boss, demands from vendors. But amid the chaos, her eyes caught sight of him, Marcus. He was suave, with a confident smile and eyes that seemed to pierce through the crowd. A successful entrepreneur in the entertainment industry, Marcus owned a string of clubs across the city. He approached her with a drink in hand, his voice smooth like aged whiskey. "You're the one making this event shine," he said, clinking his glass against hers. "I'm Marcus. Let's talk business, and maybe more." Ify hesitated, her upbringing whispering warnings in her ear. But the thrill of his attention, the way he made her feel seen in a sea of faces, was intoxicating. They talked for hours, about ambitions, dreams, and the grind of Lagos life. By the end of the night, he slipped her his card, promising opportunities that could skyrocket her career. "You have potential, Ify. Don't waste it on the sidelines." Back home in Festac that night, as she lay in her childhood bed, the contrast hit her like a wave. The faint sound of her parents' evening prayers drifted through the walls, a reminder of the life she was drifting from. Guilt gnawed at her, but so did excitement. Marcus represented everything her parents feared, the fast life, the allure of success without boundaries. Yet, in him, she saw a chance for something more, love, perhaps, or at least validation. The next day, Ify's routine resumed. She boarded the downfall bus from Festac to the island, squeezed between commuters, her mind racing. At work, her colleague and closest friend, Temi, noticed the change. Temi was the opposite of Ify, bold, unapologetic, with a laugh that filled rooms. They'd met during a chaotic event set up years ago and bonded over shared frustrations. "You look different today," Temi said, handing her a coffee during their break. "Spill it. Who is he?" Ify laughed it off at first, but Temi's persistence won out. She confessed about Marcus, the conversation, the spark. Temi's eyes lit up. "Girl, go for it. Life's too short for regrets. Your parents mean well, but you can't live in their shadow forever." But as the week unfolded, doubts crept in. Ify attended church with her family on Sunday, the pastor's sermon on temptation feeling like a personal rebuke. The enemy comes in many forms, he thundered from the pulpit. Guard your heart. Her mother squeezed her hand, oblivious to the turmoil inside. That afternoon, as they shared a meal of jollof rice and plantains, her father asked about her work. Staying out of trouble, my dear. Of course, Dad, she replied, forcing a smile. But inside, she felt the fracture widening. Marcus called that evening, inviting her to his club opening in Lekki. It's going to be epic, he said. And I want you there, not just as a coordinator, but as my guest. The invitation was a lifeline, a chance to step into a world where she could be more than the dutiful daughter. She accepted, telling herself it was just one night. The club was a sensory overload, strobe lights flashing, music vibrating through her bones, bodies moving in sync. Marcus greeted her at the door, pulling her into a VIP section where bottles popped and laughter echoed. For the first time in years, Essie felt alive, free from the weight of expectations. They danced, talked, and as the night deepened, he leaned in close. You're special, Essie. I see a future with you. But amid the euphoria, a familiar face appeared in the crowd, Pastor John's son, Daniel, from her church. Daniel, quiet and kind, had always harbored a crush on her, though she'd never reciprocated. He was there with friends, looking out of place in his button-up shirt. Their eyes met, and his expression shifted from surprise to disappointment. He approached, his voice barely audible over the music. Essie. What are you doing here? He asked, concern etched on his face. She stammered, caught off guard. Just networking. For work. He nodded, but the doubt was clear. Be careful. This isn't you. Then he vanished into the throng. The encounter sobered her, but Marcus pulled her back into the moment with a kiss that sent sparks through her. It was passionate, urgent, a promise of more. As the night ended, he drove her home, stopping short of Festac to avoid questions. See you soon, he whispered. Days turned into a whirlwind. Marcus showered her with attention, gifts, late-night calls, invitations to exclusive events. Her career soared, he connected her with clients that doubled her income. But the double life took its toll. Sneaking out, lying to her parents about overtime, the guilt built like a storm cloud. One afternoon, while coordinating an event in Oja, her phone rang. It was her mother. Essie, come home early today. We need to talk. Her heart sank. Had Daniel said something? She rushed back to Festac, finding her parents waiting in the living room, faces grave. Her father held a photo, blurry, but unmistakable, her at the club with Marcus, arms around each other. Where did you get that? She demanded, voice trembling. A friend from church saw it online, her mother said, tears welling. Essie, this isn't the daughter we raised. Who's this man? What are you doing? The confrontation exploded. Accusations flew, betrayal of faith, risking her soul for fleeting pleasures. Essie defended herself, tears streaming. I'm just trying to live, Mom. I work hard, I deserve this. Her father shook his head. Success without God is empty. End this, or you'll regret it. She stormed out, heading straight to Marcus's apartment on the island. He comforted her, holding her close. They are holding you back, babe. You need to break free. That night, in his arms, she felt a mix of relief and dread. But as she drifted to sleep, her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Watch your back. Marcus isn't who you think. Who could it be? Daniel. A rival. The message chilled her, but she dismissed it, clinging to the warmth beside her. Little did she know, the web was tightening. Marcus had secrets, a hidden relationship with a powerful socialite, deals that scattered the law. And Daniel, hurt by her choices, was digging deeper, uncovering truths that could shatter everything. As the city lights flickered outside, Essie whispered a silent prayer, torn between the bells of her past and the lights calling her forward. But the struggle was just beginning, and the betrayals waiting in the shadows would test her like never before. The morning light filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Marcus's penthouse in Ikoyi, spilling across the marble floor where Essie's dress from the night before lay discarded like a shed skin. She woke slowly, the scent of his cologne still clinging to the sheets, her body heavy with the kind of exhaustion that comes after hours of laughter, music, and whispered promises. For a moment, everything felt right. Then the phone on the nightstand vibrated once, twice, 3 times. The screen lit up with her mother's name. She let it ring out. Marcus stood beside her, reaching out with a lazy smile. "Good morning, beautiful. Stay. I'll have breakfast sent up." His voice was warm, persuasive, the kind that made saying no feel impossible. She almost gave in. Almost. But the weight of the unread messages, the unanswered calls, pressed against her chest. She kissed him quickly, gathered her things, and left before he could pull her back under the covers. The drive from Ikoyi to Festac felt longer than usual. Lagos traffic roared, giving her too much time to think. The anonymous text from the night before still sat unopened in her inbox. "Watch your back. Marcus isn't who you think." She had shown it to him in the early hours, half asleep. He'd laughed it off, said it was probably some jealous ex or a competitor trying to rattle him. "People talk when you're winning, baby," he'd murmured, kissing her forehead. She wanted to believe him. When she finally pulled into the compound in Festac, her mother was waiting on the veranda, arms crossed, Bible resting on the plastic table beside a cold cup of tea. The silence between them was heavier than any shout. Essie climbed the steps slowly. "You didn't come home," her mother said quietly. "Not an accusation. Just a fact." "I stayed at Temi's," Essie lied, the words tasting bitter. Her mother looked at her for a long moment, eyes searching. "Your father is inside. He hasn't slept." Essie walked past her into the living room. Her father sat in his favorite armchair, the one with the worn armrest, staring at the television that wasn't turned on. When he saw her, he didn't stand. He didn't speak at first. Then, softly, "We raised you better than this." The words landed like a slap. She wanted to argue, to tell them about the opportunities, the money, the way Marcus made her feel powerful. Instead, she whispered, "I'm sorry," and went to her room. She closed the door, leaned against it, and cried without sound. That afternoon, Temi called. "Girl, where are you? You vanished after the club. Marcus was asking about you." "I'm home," Essie said. "Family drama." Temi sighed. "Listen, I love you, but you can't keep running between 2 words forever. Either choose or find a way to make them fit. And fast, because drama is coming." "What do you mean?" There was a pause. "People are talking. Someone posted a video from the opening, you and Marcus all over each other. It's circulating in church WhatsApp groups." Daniel saw it. Essie's stomach dropped. Daniel. She hadn't spoken to him since that night at the club. She opened her WhatsApp and scrolled. There it was, a grainy clip, 30 seconds long, her laughing as Marcus spun her on the dance floor, his hands low on her waist. The caption read, "Is this the Essie we know?" With over 200 reactions. She called Daniel immediately. He answered on the 3rd ring. "Essie." His voice was flat. "I can explain." "You don't owe me an explanation," he cut in. "But your parents do. And maybe you owe yourself one." "I'm not doing anything wrong," she said, though the words felt hollow even to her. "Sleeping with a man who's engaged to someone else. That's not wrong." The line went quiet. Her breath caught. What did you say? You heard me. Marcus is engaged to Chioma Okonkwo, the socialite, daughter of Chief Okonkwo. The wedding is meant to be next year. It's been in the papers, soft announcement. You didn't know. She couldn't speak. I didn't want to be the one to tell you, Daniel continued, softer now. But someone has to. He's using you, essay. For fun, for connections, whatever. You deserve better. The call ended. She sat frozen, phone in hand. Engaged. The word echoed. She thought of the nights he'd spent with her, the mornings he'd woken her with kisses, the plans he'd made for trips to Dubai, to Cape Town. All while planning a wedding with someone else. She drove straight to his office on Victoria Island. The receptionist recognized her now, waved her through with a knowing smile. Marcus was in a meeting, but when he saw her face through the glass, he ended the call early. What's wrong? He asked, closing the door behind him. Are you engaged? The question came out steady, colder than she felt. He blinked. Then sighed, leaning against his desk. It's complicated. Uncomplicate it. He rubbed his temple. Chioma and I, our families have been talking for years. It's more of a business arrangement than anything. I don't love her. I've been trying to find a way out, but her father. So you've been lying to me. I never lied, he said quickly. I just didn't tell you everything. I didn't want to lose you. You didn't want to lose the convenience, she shot back. The girl who plans your events for half price, who warms your bed when your fiancé is out of town. That's not fair. Isn't it? Her voice rose. How many others, Marcus? How many women do you keep on the side while you play perfect son-in-law? He stepped closer, reaching for her. She stepped back. Don't. She turned to leave. Essay, wait. I can fix this. I'll call it off. I swear. She paused at the door. You should have done that before you touched me. She left the building with tears burning her eyes, but she refused to let them fall until she was in her car. Then she cried ugly, angry sobs that shook her whole body. That evening, she didn't go home. She went to Temi's place in Lekki Phase 1. Temi opened the door in silk pajamas, took one look at her, and pulled her inside. Drink this, Temi said, handing her a glass of wine. Then tell me everything. Essay told her. All of it. The engagement. The lies. The humiliation. Temi listened without interrupting, refilling the glass when it emptied. When Essay finished, Temi said, good riddance. But it's not over. Chioma knows about you now. How? Someone sent her the same video. And screenshots of your chats. She's furious. Her father is furious. They are powerful people, Essay. Be careful. Essay laughed bitterly. Everyone keeps telling me to be careful. I'm tired of being careful. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number again. You think you're the only one he promised the world to. Ask him about Ada. Ada. She remembered the name. A model Marcus had dated briefly last year. Or so he'd said. Briefly. She called him. He answered immediately. Who's Ada? She demanded. Silence. Then, where did you hear that name? Answer me. She was someone I saw for a while. Before you. She's pregnant, Marcus. Another silence, longer this time. I was going to handle it, he said finally. She wanted money to go away. I paid her. You paid her to disappear. I didn't want complications. Essay felt sick. You're disgusting. Essay, please. She hung up. The next few days blurred. She threw herself into work, coordinating back-to-back events in Oja, 6, a cager, anywhere that kept her moving. She avoided Festac. Avoided Marcus's calls. Avoided church. But the city was small when you didn't want it to be. One night, after a wedding reception in Eco Atlantic, she stepped outside for air and saw Chioma across the venue. Tall, elegant, designer gown flowing like water. Their eyes met. Chioma walked over, heels clicking. "So you're the one," Chioma said, voice smooth as ice. Ese lifted her chin. "And you're the fiancé." Chioma smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "He'll never leave me. You're just a distraction. A pretty one, I'll admit. But temporary." "Maybe," Ese replied. "But at least I'm not buying a husband." Chioma's smile faltered. Then she leaned in close. "Enjoy your little rebellion. When it's over, you'll crawl back to your church and your mommy, begging for forgiveness. Girls like you always do." She walked away, leaving Ese shaking with rage and something close to fear. Later that night, alone in her car, another text came through. This time with a photo attached, Marcus and Chioma at a family dinner, smiling for the camera, her hand on his arm. The caption, "Is already choosing." Ese deleted the message. Then blocked the number. Then blocked Marcus. She drove to the third mainland bridge, parked, and sat watching the water below. The city lights reflected in jagged pieces on the surface. She thought about her parents. About Daniel's quiet kindness. About the girl she used to be, singing in the choir, believing the world was simple. Her phone rang. "Daniel." She answered. "I heard what happened," he said gently. "I'm sorry." "Don't be," she said. "I needed to see it. Come home, Ese. Your parents miss you." We all do." She closed her eyes. "I don't know if I can face them." "You can. You're stronger than you think." She hung up and sat in silence for a long time. When she finally started the car again, she didn't head to Festac. Not yet. She drove to a small chapel off Owolowo Road, one that stayed open late. She sat in the back pew, alone under dim lights, and for the first time in months, she prayed, not the rehearsed words of her childhood, but raw, broken ones from the heart. Outside, thunder rumbled. Rain began to fall, heavy and sudden, washing the streets clean. But just as she stood to leave, her phone lit up one last time. A voice note from Marcus. She almost deleted it unplayed. But she pressed play. His voice was low, urgent. "Ese, listen to me. Chioma's father just pulled funding from 2 of my clubs. He's threatening more. If you don't come back, if you don't help me fix this, everything I've built falls apart. I need you. Please." The message ended. She stared at the screen. The rain pounded harder. And in that moment, standing between the quiet of the chapel and the storm outside, Ese realized the real choice wasn't between church and club anymore. It was between who she was becoming and who she still wanted to be. The rain had turned the streets into rivers by the time Ese left the chapel on Owolowo Road. Water streamed down the windshield in sheets, blurring the headlights of passing cars into soft halos. Marcus's voice note still echoed in her ears, desperate, demanding, as if she owed him rescue. She deleted it, then deleted his number entirely. The act felt small, almost insignificant, but it was the first clean cut she had made in months. She drove without direction at first, wipers beating a frantic rhythm, until she found herself heading toward Festac. Not because she had decided anything, but because her hands turned the wheel that way on instinct. The compound gate was open when she arrived, the security light flickered weakly in the downpour. She parked, sat in the car for a long minute, then stepped out into the rain. By the time she reached the front door, her weave was plastered to her neck and her dress clung cold to her skin. Her mother opened the door before she could knock. No words. Just arms pulling her inside, a towel pressed into her hands, her father standing silently in the hallway with worry carved deep into his face. They didn't ask where she had been. They simply led her to the living room, sat her down, and her mother brought hot tea laced with milk and too much sugar, the way she used to make it when Essie was a child homesick from school. She drank it in silence. When the cup was empty, her father finally spoke. "We have been praying for you every night." "I know," she whispered. Her mother reached for her hand. "Whatever has happened, you are still our daughter. That has not changed." The tears came then, hot and unstoppable. She told them everything, not in perfect order, but in pieces that tumbled out between sobs. Marcus. The lies. The engagement. The other woman who carried his child. The threats from powerful people. The shame that had kept her away. She left nothing out. When she finished, the room was quiet except for the rain drumming on the zinc roof. Her father stood, walked to the window, and looked out at the storm. After a long moment, he turned back. "The world will always offer shiny things," he said. "But peace is not for sale. You have to choose it even when it costs you." Essie nodded, throat too tight for words. Her mother squeezed her hand again. "Sleep here tonight. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. We will go to church together. After that, we will see." She slept in her old room for the first time in weeks. The bed felt smaller, the mosquito net familiar. She woke before dawn to the sound of her father's quiet voice in prayer from the living room. She lay listening until the sky began to lighten, then rose and joined them. They prayed together, no sermons, no lectures, just three voices asking for strength and wisdom. Christmas Eve service was packed. The church smelled of fresh paint and pine branches someone had tied to the pews. Essie sat between her parents, wearing a simple Ankara wrapper her mother had laid out for her. Daniel was in the choir, his eyes finding hers across the congregation during the opening hymn. He offered a small, careful smile. She returned it, feeling something loosen inside her chest. After service, families lingered outside under the Hamatan haze, exchanging greetings and plates of chin-chin. Daniel approached slowly. "Merry Christmas," he said. "Merry Christmas." They stood awkwardly for a moment until he spoke again. "I never send those anonymous messages. Or the photos. I need you to know that." "I believe you," she said. And she did. He nodded, relief softening his features. "If you ever want to talk, really talk, I'm here. No judgment." "Thank you." He walked away to join his parents, and Essie watched him go, feeling neither pull nor rejection, just quiet gratitude. The days between Christmas and New Year passed gently. She stayed in Festac, helping her mother finish alterations for customers, cooking large pots of pepper soup with her father, attending watch night service on the 31st. The city still paused beyond their gate, but inside the compound, time moved slowly, like healing. One afternoon, Temi came to visit. She arrived in a bright yellow dress, bearing a cooler of small chops and a bottle of wine. "I come in peace," she announced to Essie's mother, who laughed and welcomed her like an old friend. They sat on the veranda while children played football in the street. "So," Temi said, popping a puff-puff into her mouth, "Marcus's empire is cracking. Chioma's father pulled all his investments. 2 clubs have shut down already. Word is he's selling his Ikoyi place to cover debts." Essie felt a flicker of something, pity, maybe, but it passed quickly. "And Chioma," she asked. "Called off the engagement publicly. Said she deserves better. The blogs are eating it up." Essie exhaled. "Good for her." Temi studied her. "You look different." "Comma. I feel different. Planning to come back to the island soon. Your clients miss you." "I'll come back," Essie said. "But not the same way. I'm starting my own outfit. Smaller events. Weddings, intimate lunches. Things I can control. Things that end at reasonable hours. Temi grinned. About time. I'll send you my contacts. New Year's Day brought clear skies and cool breeze. Essie drove to the island alone, not to any club or penthouse, but to a quiet cafe in Lekki she had always liked. She sat outside with a notebook and her laptop, sketching out a business plan. The name came to her easily, Bells and Lights Events. A blend of both words she carried inside her. Her phone buzzed with messages, old clients asking if she was available, new inquiries from people who had heard she was going independent. She answered them one by one, professional and steady. In the evening, she returned to Festac. Her parents had invited Daniel and his family for dinner. The table was crowded with jollof rice, fried plantain, peppered goat meat, and laughter. Daniel sat across from her, helping pass bowls, telling stories from his new job at a tech nonprofit. The eyes met often, but without pressure. Just possibility. Later, when the guests had gone and the house was quiet, Essie stepped onto the veranda. The Harmattan wind carried distant music from a neighbor's speaker, but closer, she could hear the faint bells of a nearby church practicing for Sunday. She closed her eyes and breathed in the cool night air. She was still tall, still light-skinned, still beautiful. Still 29, soon 30. But the storm inside had quieted. She had lost something, illusions, mostly. A man who had never truly been hers. Nights that glittered but left her empty. And she had found something else. Forgiveness, starting with her own heart. A path that did not demand she choose one word and abandon the other, but allowed her to carry both, the fate of her childhood and the fire of her ambitions, without shame. The church bells rang once, clear and steady, marking the hour. Somewhere across the city, club lights still flashed, music still thumped, dreams still rose and fell in the dark. But here, under a sky full of stars, Essie stood whole. Not perfect. Not finished. Just finally, truly, herself.